because this is going to be a big one. We're missing some people today. Summer has gotten a hold of some of our wonderful people, and they're not here today. So we're recording just for you if you missed coming today. Yeah, Deb, we ready to jump in?
Ready.
All right, let's do it. So as I mentioned in the email yesterday, today is all about delivery. How you say it. I actually have a little slide for us here. Let's jump in. Oh, let's see, I got a screen share. Yeah, how you say it is everything in speaking, as we know. And just because we're on Zoom and it's on video and stuff doesn't make the delivery any less important. So when we talk about delivery, we're talking about one of the big factors is your presence, which might be called your mojo or your vibe or your essence or that je ne sais quoi that you have about you. And we definitely don't want to lose that just because we've taken all this time to craft the speech and write it and script it. It's not going to be just you reading it. Even though you may literally be reading it, we want you to deliver this talk with passion and energy and facial expressions and tone of voice and all that good stuff. So we're going to talk about that today. And what I would like for you to be doing in this first part of the content here is I'd like you to be looking at your talk, whatever you have written up, and actually circling some of the phrases in important places where it's going to be all about that delivery. How you say it is going to be really important. Whether you decide to say it loud or slow or big or with a funny facial expression, a good old head tilt, put in some of the things that you think would make the delivery of your speech just come to life. Bring it to life this week. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some things that you're going to do in your speech, and then Deb is actually going to share the information that everyone always is asking me about, which is how do I warm up and prepare right before I go on stage? So she's got a lot of big tools from speaking to lots of big groups that she's going to share with us a little later. Okay, so what goes into this presence and this vibe are three big things. First one is your voice. Your tone of voice is huge. They say that tone of voice alone is 38% of communication. And tone of voice means three things. You can actually break it down: pitch, rate, and volume. And I've got these adorable little kid flashcards here to remind us, and just burn those into your brain. High, low, fast, slow, loud, soft. That's it. That's really the ways you can vary your voice. Okay, so I want you to think of some moments in your talk where you could go kind of high, and moments that need to be grounded and low. Lower voice is like authority. What do you really need to punch with that low? When I'm talking to my dogs, I call this the dad voice, right? Like, come on, people, do this. It's a great way to show your passion in that low voice. And in the high voice, it's like kind of excitement, or maybe you have like curiosity. Go up into those higher registers too. It'll really keep people's attention. Same thing with fast, slow. Where are the times in your talk where you need to pause and let this sink in? Go really slow. For me, I naturally talk fast. So my challenge is always to go a little slower and just give a little more space between the words when I really want people to understand and stay with me. Okay? So, and there might be sections too, if you're naturally more slow, that you need to speed up a little bit. Like, let's get through it. Let's say something like a quicker list. You know, so then we went to the store, we picked up this, we got home, we did this. You can really take some precious seconds and precious minutes off your speech by picking some places where you can go faster too. Okay, and then volume. Volume is the other biggie. Where are some places in your speech where it's time to go loud? Loud and soft are going to be a little more subtle on a video. They're still really important. You can really use them. You don't have to go super loud to have a loud moment on a video. But it will be still noticed and it will wake people up if you get really loud or really soft. Okay, so like some of this is like super conscious parts of our speech we want to do loud or soft. And a lot of it is also subconsciously just keeping the brain's attention, keeping it guessing so people don't get bored and tune out. Okay, so that's voice. Any questions on that or any places you guys are seeing this come up for you? Just pause for any little awarenesses. Okay, I think you guys have heard this before. This is just your opportunity to really put it in this talk. So when like in acting classes and plays that I've done, we call this part marking up your book. You want to have your book full of marks, your script full of marks of what you're going to say louder, softer, quicker, slower. You want that whole, you know, for an actor, they almost put a mark on every word. But for you guys, at least every line should have a strong intention behind it. Okay. Okay, good old Scarlett Johansson here, teaching us how to warm up your face and use your whole face. Now, normally, if you're going to be on a stage, I'd say use your whole body. But even if you're just working with your face and your shoulders, you still got to use all of your face. Your brow and your eyes. If Scarlett can look funny, you can look funny. Your cheeks and your mouth should be loose, you know, so they come into play. And also your neck. You know, you can get a lot across with just a little head tilt. Just a little, you know, Jane, you got those great glasses. You can look over the rim of your glasses. Like, let's play here a little bit, okay? Don't be afraid to use that neck and not just stare straight at the camera the whole time. I mean, what if I just stared straight at the whole time I was giving you guys this class and just did not move my face at all? Maybe even I just moved my voice and that was really good, but then I was like a total statue while I was doing it. That'd be super weird. No, let's move around and have some visuals. And I'm going to include your hands minimally in this. You have a little bit of hand gestures you can do. And you should probably know your range. So when we talk about using your background and so forth, you know, you want to look at the camera and make sure you know how high and how wide your hands can go and when they're going to be completely off the camera. Because if I'm sitting here using my hands like this, I don't know if you guys can see me as well. Like I'm moving my hands, but all you see is me like wiggling my shoulders because my hands aren't in the view. So it takes a little bit of practice. So go through and just loosen everything up. All of it. I love the Scarlett Johansson faces here. Oh, I see it's not really 8 different ones, like 4 different ones twice. That's okay. We get the picture. Okay, any comments or questions there? Keep moving. Okay, cool. And then the third thing is, even though this is just a video, you do not want to feel like a talking head. Please don't turn the rest of your body off while you're speaking into the camera. I still would love for you to feel your feet, feel your center, which is down near your belly button, those hips in the chair, be a whole body here when you're talking on camera, because you know what that's going to do is it's going to bring a lot more energy. Think of only bringing this much energy or bringing your whole body worth of energy and passion to the video. You want them to feel your passion through this screen as if they were in the same room as you for this. And my favorite presence teacher of all time, oh man, I meant to write her name on here because she's really cool if you want to look her up. Her name is Marina Abramovic. And I got this picture of one of her pieces that she created, which was at the New York Museum of Contemporary Art. You guys may have seen a video or something about her, because this has been all over the internet, where she sat at a table and was just present with people for as long as they wanted to sit with her. She's the one in the red dress. And this is her whole body of work. Her whole life's work is she's a performance artist. And she talks about when you're doing a performance, you're bringing life to a piece of work. You want to bleed real blood, not fake ketchup like if you're acting or pretending. So if there's an emotional part of your talk, you want to actually feel that emotion. Don't just tell us the emotion. Then I was really sad. That's bleeding ketchup. Oh, Peggy has a question here. You want to bleed real blood where you actually feel sad for a moment with us. And it feels more like, that was really hard. I was really sad. It just feels different because you're letting yourself feel it for a second. Doesn't mean you break down and have a cry session for 10 minutes, but you just remember that emotion and bring it into the moment. Okay, you like bleed blood, not ketchup? You guys know what that means? I love that articulation of this concept. Okay, let's hear from Peggy. Peggy, did you have a question? Whoops. Peggy, your the screen said you raised your hand. Did you have a question on this?
The name of the presenter, teacher,
yes.
Marina.
Let me stop our share here and I'll put it in the chat.
Okay,
Marina Abramovic. There might be an H in there, but I don't think so. You gotta look her up. She's just ridiculous.
She was also featured in a documentary on Netflix called Insa'i, I-N-N-S-A-E-I. And Insa'i is an Icelandic word that has 3 different meanings, and the movie is about the power of intuition. And so she is featured in this documentary, and she's talking about how by sitting across and holding that space, like she's almost kind of creating this moment where these people can really tap into their own intuition and feel these things that like they've not been allowing themselves to feel, and being afraid to kind of like emote these things that are deep inside of them. And she, through this performance art piece, like holds the space, and she talks about like how she uses intuition and you know, with her presence, and just a really cool documentary. I love it. I'll put the name of it in the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, spell it out for everybody. Yeah, cool. Very cool. She's incredible. Oh, Deb, what do you want to say? Oh, dang it. I don't know.
Right. No, that sounds great. I want to check that out too. It's so much a part of speaking is to tap into that emotional, intuitive, and you will reach a depth of connection with your audience that is possible, but when we aren't in our emotional center, it's hard to do.
Yeah, so I wanted everybody to take a minute right now to think about the emotion that you want to leave on the stage, that you want to leave people with this talk. So if you thought getting it down to, 800 words or 1,000 words was tough, think if you could get it down to one word, what that would be and what the feeling of that would be. And I'll just say along with that, the people that I've talked to one-on-one recently, you guys are all taking a stand for something. I feel like I've used that phrase so much. Like you're taking a stand, putting a stake in the ground of blank. And I want you to fill in that blank and choose what you represent when you're on that stage. And that should be another thing you mark up your page with. Feel that, get into that feeling at the beginning of your talk and at the end of your talk. And the whole time through your talk. I feel like one of the biggest things that I like to leave on the stage is, my phrase is often, you can. Yes, you can. And I will do whatever I have to do up there to convey that, which often means being a little extra vulnerable and authentic to me, or for me. Like, wow, I got to go to another level up here because I need to make this okay for them to do what I've just asked them to do. So that's just one example that I leave up on the stage a lot.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I'm thinking about that too, and I think I feel very similar in the message of you can, and mine might be brave.
Yeah.
As I think my overall heartfelt message I'm trying to say, be brave, try it. But
Yeah.
very similar. We're all inspiring them to do something, take some kind of action.
Yeah. And Deb, you embody that. Your whole being is saying that, no matter what particular story you're talking about, the whole vibe is try it out.
It's true.
Try it. It's gonna be great. Yeah. So you guys want to have that too. It's your signature vibe. And it should be words that, they may be the same vibe, but they're totally different words for us, between Deb and I, for example. It might be totally different words. It doesn't have to be like a marketing phrase or anything. It just has to be a phrase that inspires you. I don't know whose beeping that is, but so, okay, cool. So now let's move into, I think that was all of my, all of my slides here. Let me just double check. And then I want to move into, Deb, some of your, warm-up exercises.
Okay, that sounds great.
Great. And
I just had a presentation last week and used quite a few of these, and I can kind of I'd like to share a little bit of that experience and what it was like to prepare for that.
Okay, great. Just let me know when you want your slide up.
Okay, well, let's see. Now I got to remember what was on it. Let's just go to the slide and then I'll explain as I go along. So a couple of these are based on how to reduce your nerves. And I have visualization in there. I'm going to take you through that process first. So one of the things I do before sometimes it's a week before, I'll I'll go and see the place that I'm going to present in, and I will continually visualize myself giving the presentation. And what I'm doing is I'll close my eyes and I'll just imagine being up there, and I'll imagine what I'm hoping the experience to be like as strongly as I can. Although I won't go through and say my talk, I will picture myself expressing myself, sharing my words in a confident way. I see myself up there. Then I see reactions from my audience. I see laughter. People see nodding their head and understanding. And I'm really trying to feel this connection that I want, that I'm going to connect with them. And I'm going to be giving them something that's helpful. So I will do this visualization really strongly. I'll picture the room where everything is, if I know the room I'm going to be in. And I find this really helps me to reduce my nerves about the presentation itself. It's also working on a brain level, because our brain doesn't know the difference between a rehearsal in that way and the actual experience. The brain is already thinking that you've done this. So you're just training your brain that this is what's going to happen, and I'm going to stand up here and it's going to look like this, and this is going to happen. And I believe there's just an energetic connection that you start from doing that visualization. So I started as soon as I can, and sometimes when I'm laying in bed and I get a little stressed about it, I'll just go to the visualization and picture myself doing it again. And that's one of the things I do to prepare. Another one that is on here is the memorizing tips. So I want to show you my memorization, and how odd this may look to you. I don't know if you can see that. But you see,
let me stop the share and then they can see it a little better.
Okay. So there's a bunch of words on here. These words relate to each line of my opening. And I can look at this and tell you my opening. I'm so grateful to be here. I brought you a gift. My first slide says transparency. I say, in the next hour, there will be no fluff, no sugarcoating, no BS. Instead, I plan to step out of my presentation and give you insider secrets on presentation skills, storytelling, and more. But first, I have a confession to make, because the more I talk, the more you're going to hear it, and then you're going to wonder. So I will admit that from no fault of my own, I am from Illinois. Illinois is a rivalry between Wisconsin. So I go on so that I feel so comfortable with this beginning. It goes all the way down to the first time I moved to Wisconsin. I was driving into Milwaukee and in traffic, and I thought, oh my gosh, your traffic is so cute. And I said, your rush hour, adorable. So I'm trying to make this connection with them between where they live, where I'm from, because people often ask me about my accent. And I say that, so I lived there for 5 years, and then I left Wisconsin. And for the next 15 years, I traveled all over the globe to some really exotic and foreign places like Iowa, Colorado. Those people are really far out there. And I came back to Wisconsin, and I tell them why. And so, and then I say, and let me tell you about my first BNI meeting. So now I'm going to make a really close connection with them. But first I introduce them to myself. And this does that for me. I use the words that are going to trigger me, and then I use this to practice from. So yours might look very prettier. It really works. Here's my next page. Looks very similar. Talks about the BNI meeting up here. And then I actually compliment them by saying BNI is the ideal training ground for business professionals who want to become powerful speakers. And then that's all in here. And once I get that opening, I feel so much more comfortable to go on with my presentation. So I really do believe in trying to memorize those first lines as much as you can. Those are some of the ways I do it. And then, you know, then I can do that in the car. I'll take this, just start with that first page. Take it with you in the car, you look down. And as Amanda and I were saying, we realized that if you put your little intro right there, you wouldn't be able to tell if I was looking at that. So you have an opportunity to do that for this practice.
Super cool. I mean, that's such an opportunity to just put all your notes up on the screen and read through and scroll through, and no problem. You still have to bring the energy, and you have to be able to look away from the notes too, so you can get in the moment. So you're not caught reading, but you can have that much of an outline, like Deb's key words there. I call that like a keyword or key phrase outline. You know, that's going to be no problem to have.
And it's whatever works for you. The words that go on there are the ones that you forget, or the beginning of a sentence that help you remember the whole sentence.
Yeah, or some phrase that you just, it's got to be this phrase because you're going to carry it throughout your speech or something like that. Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
want to go back to your slide here? Yeah.
So that's what I do beforehand. Then these are some things you can do right before you present, and things you can practice anytime. The first one is to release tension in your upper chest, because when we get nervous, we're going to go into the fight or flight syndrome. We're going to go into the stress response. And what happens, we take these really shallow breaths and we're breathing from our chest. So to release tension in your chest, all you need to do is push your hands against a wall, like you were trying to push a wall. So you put your hands up against the wall like this, breathe gently, and push as if you're trying to move the wall. Don't do it too hard. It's not meant to hurt yourself, but this will open up your upper chest. So you can do that. The other one is to open your throat, the whole back of your throat, using the Humpty Dumpty song. We all know the Humpty Dumpty song. Now, a great way to practice this is the first time, just do Humpty Dumpty normally. Then you're going to stick your tongue out as far as it can go. Do the whole song. Your whole back of the throat will open once you do that, and it will have a rounder, more richer tone to it. So try that when you got a minute, and you could practice that, a day before, and just do it off and on. And the more you do that, the more you're training your throat to open up as far out as you can get your tongue. It's going to open your whole back of your throat.
That's such a cool one. I have never heard that except from you, Deb. I love that. It really does work.
It does. It really does work. And you'll see the difference if you sing it first without doing it. The next one is real simple too, and it also is a chest opener, and it's the prayer breathing position. So you put your hands together like a prayer, and you breathe in through your nose for a count of 3. And when you breathe in, the whole thing you're doing here is you're connecting with that diaphragm. So you're pushing the air out. Your tummy comes out when you breathe in through your nose. Push out your tummy. Now you're going to breathe in on that. Now you're going to pull your tummy in, and you're going to tighten your hands as you let the breath back out. So it looks like this. Push your hands together, and you're creating that tension on your hands as you're letting out the breath. Again, opens your chest, upper chest. Do it really gently. It will help open it up. And hey, if you want to say a prayer while you're doing it, more power there too. The other one is real simple that you can do while you're waiting to go on to give a presentation, because no one can tell, but it's just the 1, 2, 3 breathing through your nose. So you gently breathe in through your nose for a count of 3, and you gently breathe out through your nose for a count of 3. And another version of that is, this is actually how the Navy SEALs reduce their stress response, and it's called box breathing. And that one is where you breathe in through your nose to the count of 4. You hold it for the count of 4. You breathe out through your mouth for the count of 4. And you relax for count of 4. And then you start it again. So it's a box. Breathe in for 4. Hold it for 4. Out for 4. Relax for 4. And this is another really simple one that you can do. So the very last one I want to share with you, which we can all do, even when you're sitting, right before you go on, as you stand in your emotional center, you want to squeeze your butt cheeks. Okay? So what does that do? That reduces your stress response, because what happens when you're nervous, and the reason our legs shake and our arms shake is because our body is getting ready to run. And although we can't run, the energy still has to do something. So your legs start to shake. Now, if you can squeeze your buttocks and your thighs, what's happening is all the blood is not rushing to your thighs, because that's where all the blood went. So just that squeezing brings the blood back up and out of your thighs, lets your body know that you're not going to run, and gets it closer up to your brain. This even helps you connect with your emotional center by squeezing your buttocks and your thighs. So really simple. Nobody knows you're doing it. Practice around the house a little. And I want you to get in touch with this idea of the emotional center too. So like Amanda said, this center that you're looking for is below your belly button. This is where your emotions are stored. It's down here. This is why you get that gut instinct. It comes from your emotional center, which we think is our heart or what's going on in our heads, but it's actually down here. So when you're walking around the house, speak from that lower emotional center. Experience the difference in how you feel, how it sounds, and kind of get used to that feeling, because this is where it really comes from, and you will feel more grounded. When you first stand for a presentation, you put your feet shoulder width apart and you stand in that emotional center, and you feel it down here below your belly button. And once you start there, it's a good place to start. You can't always stay there, but the more we get used to that feeling, the more that will help us when we're in that moment.
Mm-hmm. And come back to it when you do lose it. You notice you're off track. You start getting in your head, trying to just, I'm messing up my lines. Did I get everything? Just come on back.
Yes.
Nice
Breathe
deep
down
breath.
into it.
Feel
Yeah.
your feet. Yep. I agree.
Did anybody have any questions on those?
Okay, you feeling like you're prepared and ready to mark up your book and put some delivery pieces in there, plan and do some of them intentionally? Can I get a yes or no? Yes, 2 thumbs up. A nod, a yes from Jane.
No,
Background.
a no from Jane.
A no from Jane? Oh, I saw that as a yes. I just changed it around right in my mind.
I gotta share. I guarantee you, Jane, no one is totally ready. I wasn't ready when I stood on that stage. I had to step into the abyss and say, man, I hope I remember that awesome beginning I wrote. I hope they connect with it. I hope all those things I prepared for in my mind make sense. Mm-hmm. And then there's this moment where I'm just going to do it because I got to do it. And it's amazing how, like, all the things that you love about this subject and all the passion you have will help you. And it still won't be perfect. I could do that. This is like a new talk I did. I could do it 20 times more and I'll still be saying, ooh, that would have been better. Ooh, I didn't get that timing just right. Oh, I don't like the way I opened that middle part. I'm going to rewrite that. It's so, and the only best way to connect with it is from doing it. And this is such a great opportunity. You're among people who are just like cheering you on,
Mm-hmm.
and just go for it.
Have some fun. I agree. That's why we put the presentation day in the class. I would say most classes like this, most classes that I've ever been in, they teach you how to do it, but they don't make you do it. And for Deb and I both, we're like, no, the best learning comes from when you actually do it. So let's have that be part of the class. You know, so that's why we have this presentation day next week. Did everybody get your order that you're going in? Did you see that email yesterday? You got a time? Like, this is happening. So let's feel some rubber on the road feeling here today and write down how we're gonna do this. Okay, great. Well, we're pretty much at some perfect timing here to jump into our chat rooms. And what I'd like to do is try out on each other a couple of pieces that you want to deliver a certain way. So pick out a phrase or two that you want to try out on us and give it your best shot, and then we'll tell you, hey, take it up a notch, take it this way a notch, take it down a notch, whatever. And if you have a phrase that you're not sure how to deliver it, that'd be another good thing to say. Should I say it like this? Should I say it like this? You know? So that's one thing I want to do. The other thing I want to double check on when we get into our chat rooms is your background. Do you know where you're going to do this talk from? Do you have a good background with good lighting and good sound? Deb and I were talking about, should we encourage you to stand up during your talk, which as a rule, I would say yes, but it seems like that much harder to get good lighting and good sound when you're standing up a little further away from the camera. So for that reason, you know, it's totally okay to sit and do this. If you can still be energetic and moving around a little bit, and if that means you can get great lighting and great sound. Now, we have a photographer in the room. Julie, how important is great lighting?
How important is seeing?
Yeah.
Light is what we see. Darkness is what we don't see.
Yeah.
So light is very important.
Get some great light. Like I have my regular light and then I have this other light.
Oh, what a difference.
It's such a difference. And it's just this one little smoky looking desk lamp, $10.
Really?
Changes everything.
What a difference. Because I see how I'm darker than Amanda's lighting is better than mine. I have a window on this side, but I don't have like a direct light like that.
And this is how it is normally. So I have this little, this is my filter that I just put right in front of the light. And it's like the perfect, what I think is like the perfect balance of not overlit.
What is that filter?
It's a pencil holder.
It's what?
It's like a desk organizer. It's a pencil holder, but it just has this like great little, you know, so this is, we're not asking you to go out and buy a bunch
It's a
of
lighting
stuff.
hack.
It's a lighting hack. We're asking you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Just
find a
try
way.
stuff.
Right. Find a way to, you know, get the right combination of lights, and it might be something weird like that, like add a desk lamp, but then add a filter to it. So find a way to get lighting, get your background to where you like it, to where there's something interesting going on, but not too interesting. Like this bird might be a little bit extra complicated. If I was doing a recording, like a talk, whatever, I might take that down a notch. But for a class like this, where you're going to see me multiple times, I thought it was pretty okay. So we want to, we want you to be able to have some time in the breakout sessions to also see what your background is like, and you can ask us, like, is this too much? Is this not enough? I know you might not be in your background right now, but you can still talk out some of the questions that you have.
All right.
Okay. All right, great. So we've got 4 people on today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Hopefully you've gotten what you came for, recording people. Let me just